Hi folks, Patrick here, the Leaving Cert History Tutor. And earlier today I put out a shout out, was there anything people would like more of on the page or new ideas for the page? And this was one request I got, and it really caught my attention. Someone looking for a website for RSR history books, libraries closed and can't get any books. And I suppose that's a problem that's facing a lot of students now, given where we are with level 5 and COVID restrictions. However, have no fear. The answer to your problem is actually in your hand right now, or maybe in your back pocket. A lot of this stuff can be accessed on your phone or your device. All right, let's show you how. Now, this week I had a request from a student, or actually a query. Could they do their RSR in Kevin Barry? Right, Kevin Barry, his 100th anniversary, or the 100th anniversary of his execution was there before Christmas. And obviously it caught this person's attention and they want to know, can they do an RSR on it? And the answer is yes, right? You certainly can have a look at the impact of his execution. Now, if you're doing higher level history, you need at least 3 sources. Now, students probably use more than the 3, but for the purposes of evaluation, right? When you evaluate your sources, you have to pick 3. So that's what we're going to do now. Let's see what we can do in a few minutes. Can we find 3 sources on Kevin Barry? Okay, I'm going to hop out of that. I'm going to go straight to Google. So what do we have here now? We will type in Kevin... Do you see Kevin Costner? Kevin Barry. Okay, so there we go. And of course, the first thing that will come up is Wikipedia. Do not use Wikipedia. All right? Examiners like myself will not be impressed by it. Okay, so let's go down a little further. So RT, Kevin Barry, what really happened? Click at this now. Have a look. So this was published recently on November 1st, 2020. It's by Shane McElhatton, series editor of the Decade of Commemorations. So I can take from that he has done a lot of work around highlighting these different commemorations we've had over the last few years. I suppose going back to 1916 and what followed that. So let's have a look at the source. So we have here primary source material, Kevin Barry. All I'm looking at now, because of time restraints, are just headings, the ambush, the prelude, what went on before it, the ambush itself, a couple of headstones there. Yeah, there were the two British soldiers that were killed. They were quite young as well. Okay. Keep going. There was another picture up there of the primary source. Again, when you're evaluating these things, you can mention things like that. So we have pictures here now of people outside the prison saying their prayers ahead of his hanging. Large crowds. Okay, goes on. Yeah, that's interesting as well. Now, I don't have time to click on that now. I wonder what it is. Listen to an RT This Week report on this story. It's 16 minutes long. So you can see another advantage of this source. It seems to be leading on to another source that may be of use. 16 minutes long, that's quite decent. All right, so one source in the bag. We have that website. Okay, let's go back here now. Number 2, what will we go for now? Podcast. So Google Podcasts. Anyone that follows me know that I love podcasts. Google Podcasts. And you're also seeing I can't spell. Okay, here we go. So let's check out Google Podcasts. So click on that. And you can see there, I've done a bit of work already. But if you search for Kevin Barry here, we have here 3 sources, right? The history of Ireland. And again, I'm always looking at the timings of these things. Like if it's only 2 or 3 minutes, it's not worth it really. But these, we have here the Ballad of Kevin Barry, that's 24 minutes long. This middle one here, the Revolutionary Ireland, I have listened to. Now, it is quite a good source, okay? 27 minutes, quite biased as well, but it is very, very listenable, if there's such a word, and very, very informative too, not without its faults, but a very interesting listen, I have to say that. And I haven't listened to this, Lergas, a podcast by Jerry Adams. No, he would have a very interesting take on the story of Kevin Barry, okay? So we have 3 different sources there. Again, a podcast could be one of the three main sources that you use and evaluate. Okay, so we're up to 3. Let's get back to Google. How to get back to Google? So let's go up in here again. Now I'm going to share with you the 3 magic letters. Kevin Hart. I don't get Kevin Hart. Kevin Barry. 3 magic letters when you're looking for sources, and they are PDF. Search. And what you get here now, sometimes you can actually get entire books, chapters for free, okay? So I suppose, like, a lot of people think they have to buy a book. You don't necessarily. You could be very lucky. And let's check out this one here now. What have we got going on here? So we have 13 pages. Let's just zoom in a little bit. Kevin Barry, The Incident in Monk's Bakery and the Making of an Irish Republican Legend by John Ainsworth. Now, honestly, I don't know who John Ainsworth is, but, like, I suppose the first job I'll be doing after I have a look at the source is I'll be checking out his credentials. What is he an expert in? Okay? Is he a modern historian? Okay? And again, what have we got here? So we have, by the looks of things, that's a full chapter. And like that, now ideally you'd have a whole book on it, but look, if you have a very good chapter from a book, that will suffice also. Oh, we've endnotes, right. So everything he's using, everything he's saying here now, he's backing up with from other sources. So what has he got? He's got, I see Charles Townsend. Sweeping it down. How many endnotes has he? For a chapter, you know, you have 48 endnotes, and I see the last one is from Tim Pat Coogan, the Michael Collins biography. So that tells me this J. Ainsworth is using a lot of sources. That's good, and he's using pretty up to date sources as well. Like if he's using Tim Pat, this is based on research, you know, pretty recent research. You know, it didn't like this thing was written 100 years ago and it's being republished here. You know, so. There we go. Again, a word of advice, when you're doing these kinds of things, I'd also Google J. Ainsworth or John Ainsworth, whatever his first name is. Find out exactly who they are. So there you go. That didn't take too long. We have 3 sources. Now, I suppose when you actually write the extended essay, your teacher will give you feedback if there's any gaps or things you need to look into further. And I suppose that's where you go back again online and you see, you know, are there other sources you could use to fill those gaps? You can use more than 3, of course. But for the purposes of the evaluation of sources, where you have to evaluate 3 at higher level, we have 3. You know, there's probably more down the line as you write the essay. And as I said, your teacher highlights gaps for you to fill. So I hope that's of help to that person that asked that question. I think it's going to help a lot of people, you know, given the situation we're in regarding access to libraries and physical bookshops, you know, but I hope I've shown here that it's not impossible to find 3 sources very, very quickly when it comes to your RSR. All right, folks, till next time, this is Patrick. Stay safe, stay well. Good luck. Bye-bye.